to another commentary done by Diggity. This is BSL 17. Hasuleague round of 16 Group D. A little bit distracted before going into this one. Had some chat about a whole bunch of stuff. 12 o'clock location, we got Radley starting as the green Terran bottom left-hand corner. We got Napoleon starting as the brown Zerg. The FYI on Napoleon, by the way, is he's listed as random. He's not in fact random. What he does is when it's DVZ, he chooses Terran. When it's the other matchups, he chooses Zerg. So he's a race picker, which sounds almost like some weird vague insult somehow. Maybe because it has the word race in it. Race picker. But anyway, it's the long tradition of Zerg doing that in the foreigner community to avoid ZVZ, which they feel is like, this is a coin flip matchup, which I don't think it entirely is. But Rhett, probably the most famous guy who does that. A lot of Zerg players, when there's a good number of Zerg players that do it. There's quite a bit of history of it. I would bet that the Koreans would do it too, given the opportunity. But they got to stick with a single race. This is on Apocalypse. Should be an interesting one. This was listed as the winner's bracket, but I believe it is the loser's bracket game 1. And it looks like we're going to see a 9-pool opener from Napoleon. Is there some adjustment? I feel like there must have been some sort of meta shift where this has become more popular for Zerg, going for the 9-pool thing, because we're seeing Napoleon do it after seeing Jiraiya do it as well. Or maybe it's just something that they're doing particular because Radley maybe tries to sneak quick command centers compared to his opponent. This time there might be some success with it because we don't have a front door seal. We have an in-base barracks. And this is a rampless map, so I think this will play a little bit better than against a ramped map or a full front door seal. But we'll see how Radley does in dealing with it. But he's going to have Zerglings in his face. One problem for this with Napoleon on a 3-player map as opposed to a 2-player map is it's going to be a challenge to figure out which direction he should head. And it looks like it's going to be a 2-barracks opener from Radley, so he's at least going to have a lot of Marines. So rather than going 1 racks into expansion where he might have needed to cancel an expansion to stay alive, he is going to have sufficient Marines to defend this. He's moving out with an SCV. He's going to be able to scout these Zerglings right off the bat. There could be an adjustment where Napoleon, what he's looking to do is put his opponent in the dark by getting a Zergling swarm and surround on the initial SCV scout. And this is dangerous for Radley. So this SCV is going to key Napoleon off that he should go to the top left, which is unfortunate. A Marine is way out in no man's land. We don't see any sort of bunker, so Radley's going to have to respond very, very quickly to this. He's going to have to be Johnny on the spot, pull some SCVs. There's the initial Zerglings. He's got the Marine production to repel this, but yeah, needs to pull SCVs to help try to defend. We already got 1 Zergling down, 1 SCV down, and here's kind of the problem with this Zergling opener is it doesn't take long for Terran to stabilize potentially, although Radley pulled the SCVs back too early and didn't have enough Marines out there. Looks like now he's going to be able to defend it, and as a result lose an additional Marine and additional SCV, although he's still in a strong position. You can see from the worker count, he's staying on top of this. Not sure why he decided to click on Napoleon to eradicate vision right there, but it looks like we're seeing kind of a 3-hatch follow-up and a supply deep. What is this? Was that a misclick for Radley? Is he just going to try to separate? Okay, so drops a supply depot, drops another supply depot to cut off the hatchery from the natural, and now he's got a bunch of Marines making the way. This is the first time I think I've ever seen this. That's some clever play right there. So a single Zergling trying to make its way back, but it's got a lot of stuff to try to chew through. That's forcing a sunken colony on the front, but we have 4 Marines, and I think Radley is... And what are we doing? Why are we... We're morphing the lair at the natural expansion. Once again, in response to this, single Zergling going to have to defend. This is going to force some Zerglings to be built at the natural. Radley just likes playing this early aggression. This is a lot of resources to drop, and a huge SCV pull. I missed it. So SCV's coming off the line, but they're delayed from the Marines. The Marines are just letting the SCVs attack the sunken colony in between all this, and it looks like they're separated from the Marines as well, so the Zergling's able to march up, get some damage done. Radley still in a solid position, though, and that's forced a cancel lair. A slew of Zerglings being built. If he drops another something right here, he should be able to wipe out this hatchery at the natural, at which point it's going to be 1 base versus 1 base, and if he can just keep up the Marine production while getting the natural expansion, despite having that second hatchery up at the natural, with just 13 drones, I don't know that it's going to be sufficient. Another creep colony trying to get dropped It's going to get canceled. That's another drone down. The Zergling's trying to group up, but this is a big pocket to try to push into. So the Zergling's going to have some trouble, especially with those SCVs in the way. Another creep colony getting dropped. An SCV getting wiped out. Behind all this. And Radley might have done it. I believe he has. Okay, now that sunken colony morphing. Let's see if it attacks that supply depot first, or if it attacks the Marines. These Marines should be able to swarm all of this, though. They just got to play it. And does the sunken colony reach is the next question. So the sunken colony reaches the supply depot. Okay, it does, in fact. This actually, I'm wondering if this is at that spot where it has the kind of bugged range sort of thing. But this is still a lot of Marines to the south. That might be a supply depot down. But Radley able to wipe out that natural expansion is huge. He's also getting a bunker established here. We still have a tech delayer behind all of this. No third barracks as of yet, but we do have an engineering bay and an academy going up. The Marines continue to press forward into this. The Zergling's trying to push through. It looks like they're getting some good surface area, but there's still too many Marines behind this. Plus they have a bunker to support. And honestly, a medic down here, 2 medics, and this is a breach. And I don't know if there's a lot that Napoleon can do to deal with this. He's got Zergling speed online now, dropping a second creep colony. But creep colonies are not going to win him the game here. Another bunker attempting to get built. And I think that might range the hatchery. So that plus range upgrade should be sufficient, I believe, to range to take out this hatchery as well. And that's also going to help defend and chew into these Zergling lines. All right. Second bunker up. Marines in. Sunken colony not in range. Another sunken colony attempting to get dropped. But that hatchery already had a massive amount of damage. So Zergling's trying to get expended from Napoleon to try to buy time for this hatchery. It looks like he's realizing that's not going to be sufficient. Yeah, I don't think even if he manages to get this sunken colony up, it's not going to be in time to save this hatchery. It's just 2 weeks. So now the Zergling's trying to flood through. And I think that's going to be it for Napoleon. As, yeah, he took out the SCV, but wasn't able to get a lot else done. He's got 3 sunken colonies. The Marines can honestly just walk up and group fire that second hatchery down. It's remaining silent. We have a spire being built behind this from Napoleon, but there's enough Marines where I don't know that even without medic support, I don't think that's going to provide a lot of help. Range being finished, +1 weapons about halfway there. And the supply, you can just see that supply differential between Radley and Napoleon right this second. Napoleon is on life support. Comsat seeing that spire getting completed. Even with the, honestly, even, well, maybe in a base race scenario, it'll work out. We got 2 medics grouping up. And if Radley just takes the healthy Marines and moves them out front, he still might be able to punch through the 2 sunken colonies. At the very least, he should be able to take out that hatchery. And he can still just get turrets down in the background. So I'm not sure how much these, we'll see what these Mulists can get done. Maybe there's a miracle for Napoleon. Well, he'll be able to breach the natural expansion with just 5 Mulists and some amazing micro, but I am honestly seriously doubting it. Third barracks, sorry, a factory getting dropped from Radley. This is going to delay science vessels, but at this stage, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. The Mulisks are making their way out right this second. Radley stimming now as they're away. And so they initially moved out. Looks like they're kind of fluttering as far as what they want to do. The hatchery now wiped out. So that's 3 sunken colonies defending, and it looks like Napoleon holding right this second, but he is in the red on top of everything else upon losing that 1 supply from the hatchery. And now it's kind of a cleanup operation for Radley. He just needs to make sure he's got sufficient turrets, continues to pump the Marines, gets a science vessel up. Ooh, that was not a good look for Napoleon, eating a massive amount of damage on that initial Mutalisk. He's trying to upgrade +1 weapons. But this is just, I almost want to go ×2 speed at this stage. This would take a massive, massive drop in something from Radley to lose this at this stage. The Marines making their way out. We do have 6 Mutalisks. It's basically 1 base Mutalisk now off 12 drones to try to win this. So all it's going to take is a single science vessel with Irradiate or sufficient amounts of medic Marines, and that should seal the game. Even if they push back with that bunker support, are there medics in that bunker? It looks like the medics are drawing their way back to the main, not getting picked off by Mutalisks in between. An additional turret getting dropped. A third barracks could get dropped from Radley. It looks like instead he's going to invest in some more missile turrets. Again, it would take an absolute miracle for Napoleon to pull this one off. I think he's going to try to build a lot of Mutalisks and wait for +1 weapons, potentially. Never mind. He's going to dive in, lose another Mutalisk. Trying to engage the turret line. So what he's hoping is going to happen here is that he can wipe out these turrets, wipe out the medic Marines, and then just pick off Marines as they're produced. Science, I don't see the science facility as of yet. Waiting for that to drop. That should be the, yeah, that's the crowning. As soon as that first irradiate's complete, that should be it. Napoleon dropping a second sunk colony to hope to range that bunker. To maybe, ooh, and it's not quite in range. I think he was hoping to get some establishment on his natural expansion. A command center being built. One base versus one base turn does outscale Zerg, unfortunately. But at least for Radley, that natural expansion has been grabbed. Or I should say, at least for Napoleon, that natural expansion has been grabbed on top of everything else. A medic getting picked off at the very least, but there's still a lot of medics behind all this. Science facility finished. Let's see that science vessel queued up. All we need is that one science vessel and some irradiate, and that should be it. An Overlord getting pushed back as well. More Mutalisks making the way out. +1 weapons just about to complete. Where are they? To the top right. A lot of them have already been softened up, however, in initial engagements. There's the science vessel as well as a radiate. Napoleon in the red, so an Overlord got picked off someplace out in the field. Maybe it was this one down in no man's land. But we do have a formidable group of Mutalisks. This would be able to open up the natural expansion. I don't know that it'd be able to do a lot else, but this is a small window for Napoleon to maybe get something done. So able to take out a turret right there. But the Medic Marines in prime position to go ahead and repel everything that's left. Another hatchery getting dropped to try to equalize things, but double the supply right now for Napoleon. Maybe if he picks off the science vessel right as it's produced, that would have been sufficient. A slew of turrets getting dropped to go ahead and establish this natural. Overlord going to get picked off on top of everything else. That's continuing to keep Napoleon in the red. Another Mutalisk getting wiped out, and he's just going to GG right there, recognizing that science vessels are out any second. Strong play from Radley with the aggressive 2 racks openers here. Played out well for him. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.